Jamie Oliver recipe. That isn't entirely true, because what I'm doing is a combination of two of his ideas. The combination is not the method, but the actual ingredients that go into it. I'm going to cook a chicken tray bake. Now this is exactly what it implies. You pop everything into one baking tray, you cook it in an oven, and an hour or two later you bring out a dish that is due to impress and stun all your friends. I don't know about that, the impressing or stunning. What I want to make is something that tastes very good, which is why I couldn't make up my mind about which of the two recipes I was going for, because I like the ingredients from one and I also like the ones from the other. So coming up now is my interpretation of chicken tray bake. I'm going to start by showing you what goes into the dish. It really is very simple. I've got the things ready and I'm just going to lift off, first of all, some sage. That is just to put over the top. The main things are what goes into it, and we have red peppers, yellow peppers, a large piece of garlic, red onion, silver skin onions, and these come in a jar, pickled, olives. They also come in jars because they've also been treated. You can never eat olives straight off a tree. And the last thing is tomatoes. Now, what I was agonizing over was one of the recipes suggested you need half a tin of whole crushed tomatoes. The other one suggested you needed fresh tomatoes. Now, I've done what I think might be an even better solution, and I am using sun-dried tomatoes, which have all the flavor and the sweetness, but the liquid has slightly been condensed. So instead of pouring a lot of liquid onto this tray bake, I'm going to make it fairly dry, and I'm going to let the chicken juices go in with the oil and the balsamic vinegar, and that is going to make the nice combination. So here we go, we get started, and it may surprise you to know that I am not putting salt on any of this, because the onions, the olives have enough salt already. And so I'm going to try it first. We can always add salt at the end, but what I've often said is you can't take salt out, but you can put it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just getting my hands into this and mixing the whole lot together with a tablespoon or so olive oil, which I have put on. Now, the purpose of using a whole piece of garlic like this is that it gives it flavor without giving a huge garlicky punch. Now, I don't know if you know, but the finer you chop anything or grate it, the stronger it tastes. So with garlic, if you put it through a garlic press, it's very intense. But if you put the whole things, what you get after an hour of roasting is something very sweet and something slightly caramelized, really good. Now these are red onion, and I've done something interesting. I've kept the little knob on the end, and this is what one would normally cut off. And the reason I'm keeping it on is so that they will fan out, but they will not all disintegrate while they cook. Now here are the delicious, really lovely sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes can sometimes come tough and hard, and you have to rehydrate them. None of that with it. They're just soft and beautiful. So here they all are with the silver skin onions and some olives. I have to say the real recipe said stoned olives, but I couldn't get those, so I have got pimento stuffed ones instead. Now we are ready to put on the chicken. Now I am using chicken thighs. Now, breasts are usually more popular, but for this dish, and actually for most dishes, I would say, that the dark part is more flavorful. So what I'm going to suggest is that you use the chicken thighs, and those are going to give you the really lovely taste. So first of all, we start by putting a little bit of the oily stuff on the chicken. I'm just going to rub them in like that and put them in the middle. If you were doing a very large amount, you would probably just put the chicken on top. But because I had plenty of space in this, and I'm really only doing enough for two, you can see here, I've got 4 chicken breasts and a certain amount of vegetables. That is going to be enough for 2 people. So if you want more, you have to multiply it up. Now, the last thing I am adding is some paprika. Some people say smoked paprika, but I actually just prefer the plain paprika. Now, I'm going to be quite generous with the paprika because it's going to give it a very, very nice flavour. And you realise that I haven't put in a whole collection of different herbs and spices because what I want is, I want the vegetables and the chicken just to shine on their own without being overwhelmed by many other tastes. I've taken a brush and I've brushed the paprika over it so that it is slightly more even. And I'm going to add a bit more olive oil, just drizzling it over the top of the chicken and the vegetables, and a dash of balsamic vinegar. Now, not too much of this. I don't want a great, huge amount, so I'm just sloshing a very little bit on. And now they are ready to be put in the oven. Back again. I've taken the chicken and the vegetables out of the oven and I've moved them onto a serving tray. So here it is. Now what you've got here is 2 of the chicken thighs, and you've got all the vegetables separated out again because I just like to do it like that. The tomatoes, the onions, the peppers, the garlic, the olives and the silver skin onions, and on the top at the side is a little bit of bulgur. Now bulgur wheat is something really, really easy to cook, and I will tell you that another time. But what I'm just going to do is to show you how I finish off the gravy part of this dish. Now, here are the rest of the chicken thighs, and there they are with some more of the other vegetables. Now, what I need to do for this is I need to deglaze the pan a little bit, and deglazing the pan means that you're sliding your palette knife or spoon around the edges where there is a nice crispy bits and the actual flavour from the chicken has all got into there. But as you can see, it is quite full of oil. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold those back and I'm going to pour this into a bowl like this, the whole lot of it. Everything. Hopefully nothing else will go in as well, although it's quite possible a couple of olives will drip in. But there we are. Now, you can, if you want, add a dash more boiling water to this to make it a little bit more of a gravy. But this is what's going to happen. This bowl here, the fat is going to separate from what is underneath, and what is left underneath is going to be the gravy for the chicken. So I do hope you try it. It's certainly worth it. It takes about 45 minutes, a little tiny bit more. What I would give you is that just to check that the chicken is done, poke a sharp knife into the top of the thigh, and if it comes out the slightest bit pink, that means it's not ready yet, and you can give it another 5 or 10 minutes. I hope you enjoy Jamie Oliver's Chicken Bake.
One other thing to remember, for the last 15 minutes of cooking, I would definitely add a cupful of boiling water and stir it in well, and that will help to make your gravy. Pour away the orangey oil from the top of your bowl and add the juices from the bottom to your gravy. Here's the finished dish, ready for the 2 of you to enjoy.
Finally, a quick word about the 2 recipes that I mixed up. I want to tell you that using the pickled onions and the olives came from a recipe which required at least another hour's cooking. Apart from that, I didn't really like the taste of the silver skin onions. They're sharp and not very good, and so if I were you, I would just leave them out.